Let's get on to my Week 11 NFL picks. Last week had somewhat of a struggle, came back to reality, went 6-7. There were a lot of upsets last week. Overall from the year, I'm at 95, 52, and 1, so here are my Week 11 NFL picks. Thursday game this week comes out of the AFC North. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling on the Turnpike to Cleveland to take on the Browns, a game that will be shown nationally on Fox Television, the NFL Network, and Amazon Prime's video. This is where my upset pick of the week lies. The Browns are actually a home favorite in this game. I'm actually going to take the Steelers on the road to beat the Browns. The Steelers, they've caught fire here. I think they've won 4 games in a row. They're kind of back into the playoff picture here. The Browns are coming off a win last week against the Bills, but I'm going to take the Steelers in my upset pick of the week to beat the Browns. Sunday action, we have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. I'm going to take the Cowboys to win here. I think they're just the better team. So give me the Cowboys to beat the Lions. Jacksonville Jaguars travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts in an AFC South battle. Nick Foles looks like he will be back at quarterback for the Jaguars more than likely. It looks like Jacoby Brissett will be quarterback in the Colts again this week after coming back from injury. I'm going to take the Jaguars in a surprise on the road to beat the Colts. Just playing a hunch here. I'm expecting Nick Foles will be quarterback in the Jaguars this weekend, so I am going to take the Jaguars in a surprise over the Colts. AFC East matchup, we have the Buffalo Bills traveling down to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins actually got a win over the Colts last week while the Bills suffered a loss to Cleveland, so both teams coming off losses here. The Bills are just a better team here. I'm going to take the Bills to go down to Miami and beat the Dolphins. It's that simple. Interconference or out-of-conference matchup here. We have the Denver Broncos traveling to Minneapolis to take on the Vikings, of course. The Broncos, they're not a very good team at this point. The Vikings are, even though they have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, the Vikings are the better team here. Give me the Vikings at home to beat the Denver Broncos, and I think they'll beat them pretty handily. NFC South matchup, we have the New Orleans Saints traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Saints came off a shocking defeat last week to the Falcons, while the Buccaneers, they won at home against the Cardinals. So the Bucs looking to make it 2 in a row at home here. The Saints have got to bounce back here, I have to think. There's no way they lose face here. Drew Brees, he played pretty well last week against the Falcons in a losing cause. Surprised the Falcons defense actually showed up the way they did. But I think the Saints bounce back. Give me the Saints on the road to beat the Buccaneers. In a battle of the 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, we have the New York Jets traveling down I-95 to the nation's capital to take on Washington. Between the two teams, they have just 3 wins. Jets got the win over the Giants last week in the Battle of New York, even though they play in New Jersey. And Washington is coming off their bye. I'm actually going to take the Jets on the road here. I'm playing a hunch. I'm going to take the Jets on the road in a surprise to beat Washington. Looks like Washington's going to go with Dwayne Haskins for the rest of the year. I know that's what Bill Callahan, the interim coach, said. So Dwayne Haskins going to get his chance to shine. He has not looked too good yet, but of course he's just a rookie, so we got to give him time at least. I'm going to take the Jets. I think Sam Darnold's better than anything Washington has right now, so give me the Jets on the road to beat Washington. Another NFC South matchup. We have the Atlanta Falcons traveling up to Charlotte to take on the Panthers. Of course, Matt Ryan continuing to come back from injury. Cam Newton's season's over, so it's going to be Kyle Allen the rest of the way for the Panthers. I'm going to take the Panthers at home to beat the Falcons. Again, I think it's a close game, but I'm going to take Carolina, even though Carolina did lose to Green Bay last week. I thought they actually played pretty well for the most part in that game. So, with that said, I'm going to take Carolina here to get the win over Atlanta. We have the Houston Texans traveling up to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I think this will be another very good matchup here. 2 of the top teams in the AFC doing battle here. We got Deshaun Watson taking on Lamar Jackson here, 2 up-and-coming quarterbacks. Should be a lot of fun to watch this one. I'm going to take the Ravens. I like the Ravens here at home. Should be a pretty good game, I think, overall. Give me the Ravens at home to beat the Houston Texans. NFC West matchup, we have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Bay Area to take on the 49ers here. 49ers coming off a surprise defeat. They suffered their first loss of the season on Monday night last week against the Seahawks. While the Cardinals, of course, they lost that game with the Buccaneers in Tampa. So both teams looking for a win here. I like the 49ers at home. 49ers should bounce back and get a win here for the Cardinals. So give me the 49ers at home to get back on track and beat the Cardinals. We have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Raiders, and I should mention here as well, CBS has the doubleheader this week. Cincinnati Bengals traveled out to the Bay Area to take on the Raiders. Bengals are still winless. I think they're going to stay winless. The Raiders, the Raiders have not played bad this year under John Gruden. They're in the mix. And I think the Raiders pick up another win here. Give me the Raiders at home to beat the winless Bengals to keep them winless. The marquee late afternoon game will be the New England Patriots traveling to Philadelphia to take on Eagles. It's a Super Bowl rematch here from recent years. The Eagles are a little bit down right now. They're coming off their bye, while the Patriots also coming off their bye. So both teams coming off their byes from last week. It wouldn't shock me to see Philadelphia win here, but I am gonna, take the Patriots on the road to win. I think they're just a better team here overall. The Eagles have kind of been up and down. Like I said, it wouldn't shock me to see the Eagles win here, but I'm going to take the Patriots on the road to win. Sunday night national game for NBC television. It is the good matchup here out of the NFC. We have the Chicago Bears traveling out to Southern California to take on the LA Rams. Both teams kind of struggling here. Both teams need a win here in the worst way. The Bears are coming off a win last week against the Lions in a very close matchup, while the Rams lost in Pittsburgh. So the Rams looking to really need it here. Both teams have been struggling overall. I think the Rams do bounce back here. I'm going to take them at home to beat the Bears on Sunday Night Football and get back on the winning track here by beating the Bears. And what I think will be a relatively low-scoring game, I think. So we have that. Monday Night Football this week, it is the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the LA Chargers. This game's going to be in Mexico City. Of course, it's going to be on ESPN as well for Monday Night Football. Looks like Patrick Mahomes is back in action here for the Chiefs, looking good. The Chiefs, they lost last week to the Titans, while the Chargers, of course, what did the Chargers do last week? I'm trying to think what the Chargers did last week. They lost to the Raiders on Thursday Night Football. That's right. So the Chargers have had time to prepare since they played on Thursday last week. In Mexico City, I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Chiefs just have the better quarterback here. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the LA Chargers on Monday Night Football. The teams on the bye this week are the Packers, Titans, Giants, and Seahawks. Those are my Week 11 NFL picks.